live and in charge.
Look at that.
Yeah. So, so I want to start this
That
off by
was
saying
scary.
it's really convenient for RPG to throw down the gauntlet in our chat or
On
show,
topics, and then
and then go, "Oh, I've got to fly to
I
California.
can't
Oh
be
my
there.
God, I'm so special."
Yeah.
We
Tell
love you,
me, oh,
RPG.
can I do this from the airplane? It's like actually, yeah, you can.
Could
We have the
have.
technology.
That's right.
Uh,
We could have
but he
also
didn't
done
even
it this morning
try.
before he flew out.
Yeah, there's all kinds of reasons that he
There's
should be
things,
here to defend his particular propositions. But
right?
in his stead, we are going to erect the most amazing straw man arguments. Um,
I think so.
against which we will argue vociferously and beat them down because he's not here to build his own arguments. So
Yeah. So, what are our
he's going to get
topics today,
scarecrows.
Anthony? What are our
Oh,
topics today? Come on, tell
our
everybody at
topics
home.
today. Oh, hi everybody at home. This is
Hi,
Anthony.
everybody.
That's John, and that's Mike. Well, I could have gone both ways. Um,
We don't do those kind of
sorry.
shows here.
Uh,
Just saying. Ah.
Why? I should have thought of that for you.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
no, so let's see. While we're on the subject of subjects, we're going to do RPGs. Well, you know what? I'm going to save that little toast for last. We're going to be,
Yeah.
touching base a little bit more on the Bigfoot controversy because every
Yes.
episode that has anything to do with the paranormal, pseudo history, any sort of anything, must address the 8,000-pound Sasquatch in the room,
Exactly.
which is the pre PG film. So it's the PPG footage. Um, and so we'll address that a little bit more because more stuff has come out.
Oh my.
And then we're also going to be looking at the spate of UFOs that we have been dealing with, as well as some surrounding phenomena
Right.
that has been going on within that world. Not that we're going to talk about missing scientists, but we might just be bringing up missing scientists
Yeah.
um,
Maybe.
because we have sent Mike out in the field to track them down, and he has one of them who will be here as a guest star later on. That's me teasing you, and believe me, you're going to be disappointed. Um,
God have mercy.
and then, uh, and then lastly, and most leastly, we will be dealing with Ryan's topic. For those who don't know, Ryan is long for RPG.
Yeah.
Um, and Ryan's topic is that the moonshots and such are fake. And I will be helping people dismantle those things when they hear them because it's honestly more fun than believing in them. So that's where we're at.
Yes.
Michael, what have you been up to this week?
I've tried to go out a few times and investigate, but the weather was a little bit of a pain in the butt, so I haven't been able to get in the woods as much as I want to.
Right.
Just trying to follow up on some of the things I've been watching surrounding the UFO and the aliens and Congress.
Yeah.
Some of the things that are coming out of Congress that's really, really intriguing. I want to dig a little deeper into that. I think you've heard
Yeah.
some of the same things I have.
Muncha.
Yes.
Jeez.
There's that. There's all kinds of things going on. So aside from that, John, where do you want to start?
Let's start. Oh, well, we might as well start with the grill in the room, and that's the UFO landing.
UFO
Yeah.
landing.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, the moon landing.
Oh,
So here's
all
the
right.
problem. Here's
So
what's
we're going
going.
to start with RPG stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
So
good.
here's the thing. So we lost our tech this week. He has a foot the size of a cantaloupe and blah blah blah. So I'm trying to be on and talk and switch and make sure things go right. And So everybody's just going to have to bear with us.
Oh, so turning. Oh, and speaking of which, how
Yeah.
many Sasquatch sightings are actually bears? Okay, we've got to think about that. That was nice little, subtle subliminal thing you did there, John.
Right. Well, thanks.
But
Appreciate that. Yeah, I
now,
try. I try.
I
I
see
try to
what you're
make
up
it
to.
easy for
So
us. So,
yeah, well,
so
today the part of technician will be played by John.
that's me.
Go ahead.
It's kind of funny. We were going, we go through our chat and we were like, oh, what are we going to do show on this week and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then, I put in several items, which seems to be the big talk on social media. And actually it's all talk because of the Artemis flight. Right. And
Yeah.
so, everybody's like, oh, the moon landing is fake and blah, blah, blah. And then, so of course, what does RPG do? He throws in this little nugget in there and goes, well, how can
Yep.
intelligent people believe that we live on the flat, actually, that the moon landing happened and, involving this flat earth? And I'm like, well, it's the same intelligent people that believe that cryptids, ghosts, and UFOs exist. So there's that. But
Yeah.
but because of the Artemis flight, it's been a big deal. Everybody's like, well, it's all fake. So
Yeah, I mean, the eyes are looking up again.
yeah.
And it's funny because, of course, what's the name of this flight again? It's the Artemis 2.
2.
Oh, so what was Artemis 1? Does anybody know what Artemis 1 was?
It was a trial, wasn't it? Just to get the
Yeah,
booster to work.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to make sure everything worked. And they sent a flight around the moon, a 450,000 mile, round trip, much like this one will be. And of course, I suppose that was faked as well.
Probably.
I mean, wouldn't that have to be? Because if they could do Artemis 1,
yeah,
then why couldn't they do Artemis 2?
right. So, a lot of pictures started, everybody was taking snapshots and video of the launch. And then, they have people going down where they were zip lining the crew off the capsule, or
Yeah.
or they weren't really in there. It was all
They weren't in
staged.
there.
So I
No,
want
I mean,
to address this so that way we can kind of get an establishment of what
okay.
I honestly think that the moon landing is real. And the reason I think, and everybody's like, well, it was shot in a studio, which let me say this. You're not wrong. There was footage shot in a studio. And you know why there was footage shot in a studio? It was shot in a studio so people could see what the moon landing looked like. Because that in those times, we did not have that technology strong enough to send an image back and watch Neil Armstrong drop out and step on the moon. Because that if you had to take it with absolute knowledge, that means that the cameraman was the first man on the moon, not Neil Armstrong.
Nope. I got to stop you right there, John.
What?
Before he stepped out of the capsule,
Yeah.
the capsule was rigged with an extending arm with the camera on it. You did it from the inside. There was an extending arm on the camera. It's that simple. Okay, and so that's how that shot was done. It was planned from the very beginning.
And I've actually seen the plans where they had that on the leg where it came out and they could focus on it. That's why the original shot, you see him coming through the hatch to step down, and then the screenshot changes to the outside, shooting back to where he's actually touching the ground.
Okay, so it was 67.2 inches long.
The arm. Okay.
Additional 23.7-inch Apollo extension handle was used to operate tools, while crew ladder had a large final 76-millimeter gap on the ground.
It's almost like they knew they'd want to take footage.
What about?
And so they built something to do it.
Who filmed it taking off then?
Oh, they left a camera on the surface.
And who retrieved that film?
Nobody. It was broadcast. It was just transmitted back to the capsule.
We had that kind of transmission.
That's all.
I mean, I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just saying
we had television.
Well, that doesn't mean
everybody had a TV in their living room.
We had 3 stations.
So you could have a camera. Yeah, but
That was
so
a baby, so my dad
CBS
threw
was
my
back
ass over
down.
there to change the channel.
No, it was
Rabbit ears.
broadcast back in the same way we were watching it on television. They were able to broadcast back to the lander, back to the capsule. Okay, and that's where the footage came from.
See, I
Yes, the
was
camera is
told,
still sitting there.
right, I was told that what we saw on TV was cameras positioned in front of monitors from NASA, because no one got the actual feed. It was a
No,
feed into
you are
NASA.
correct.
And then
You
they
are
set,
correct.
that's why if you look at the footage, it's kind of bubbled over because those tubes back then are
Yeah,
right flat.
exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that
No.
I was on the understanding that NASA had actually went ahead and hired people in a studio to film some of the stuff so that way they could see an actual representation of what happened. That's what I
No.
was told.
No, what we saw was what actually happened, right down to the fact that John Glenn muffed his line. One small step for for man, one giant leap for
A giant
mankind.
leap for
Uh,
mankind.
yeah, he actually muffed the line. I can't remember what it was supposed to be, but yeah, he blew it. You had one job. Yeah, one job.
One job.
In that second, you had one job. Besides the fact that you're actually jumping onto the freaking moon, no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Don't be a dum
but
dum.
no, I mean, and what I think one of the most convincing
Here's the
arguments
handle.
that it's real. There it is. Yep, that doesn't
Yep.
exist, obviously. One of the most convincing arguments for this is how the hell it would have taken something like 8,000 people to pull this off.
Right.
8,000 people who knew it was fake in order to build the sets, run the cameras, do all the switching like you're doing now, okay, only on old equipment, okay, where you're plugging wires in left and right, okay, and all that kind of crap. And it would have taken something like 8,000 people who knew it was fake because you had to actually send a rocket up. You had to, there's just so much crap you had to do
Yeah.
in order to pull this damn thing off. And so when you look at all of that, you had 8,000 people who knew it was fake, and not a single one of them has ever said, yeah, it was fake.
Right.
Not one
So
out of 8,000.
let's
Don't ask
address.
me what they were paying them,
Yeah.
but
So
uh,
let's address.
yeah,
Let's address the other one where they. I just lost a train of thought. Shit. I hate when I try to do too much.
okay.
At the same time. God dang it. Hold on. Come back.
Well,
Not what I was
interrupt
thinking.
me when you get it, because
Yeah,
I'm
go
going to
ahead. Keep
jump to
going.
the new Artemis mission. Okay, because like I said, there was Artemis 1, and the first argument you're going to give me is that wasn't even manned. That was so easy to fake, yada, yada, yada. Okay, there was nothing there to fake. There were no pictures. There was no. What there was, though, was an enormous amount of telemetry data. And there were, I think, 12 the science projects on board. I call them science projects. They were mini test subjects that were allowed to go up on the Artemis mission. And if you happen to know people, or you know people who know people, but I happen to know the people, okay, who happen to have built one of the satellite thruster engines that was sent up on the Artemis mission into deep space,
Right.
and you've been able to see the data that came back yourself, and you know that it could only have really occurred in the cold vacuum of deep space because of the way the data came out, you realize that at no point could that have been faked in that
Right.
way. It would have just been insane because there were things going on with the hardware that NASA didn't know about, because things were changed leading up to it. There was technology that changed. There were things that changed right up to the last minute, practically, before this thing took off. And so there were data packets coming back that nobody would have known about in order to fake them.
Right.
And yet they came back exactly as they should have. So it was almost like a password was put in there. And no, it definitely went around the moon. The data that came back was extraordinary. Nobody would have faked the data that came back because the data that came back was wrong, was impossible according to the modern understanding of physics. And yet it was exactly what was.
Uh-oh. Well, we lost him. He went away. Oh my.
That was sudden.
See that? Well, see what happens when you start telling the truth? Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
That's oh my God.
Okay, now I don't want to talk about the things that they've been catching on the NASA cams where NASA keeps cutting the feed, and that leads into the UFO topic.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
There he is.
Of course
Oh
he's
my.
back. What do you think? Not like some rank
See, when you talk
amateur.
about the truth, what happens?
Yeah, I know exactly. No, that was me not putting do not disturb on. And so a phone call came through and bumped it off.
Oh.
So there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm back. So yeah, except now I'm here to tell you that the Artemis mission was fake. That none of it was real. That I don't know what that other guy was just saying about that test packets and stuff. That's not even real. Okay. Did I do that? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
You're fine. You're not
Put it
in
down, put it down.
trouble. Oh my God, that's great.
Crimson.
Oh, come on. Turn on.
Sabercore. Crimson.
Oh, I see. I've got to hold the button down.
Sabercore.
Oh, never mind. It won't turn on right.
That's hilarious.
Usually I have a sword here when I'm talking.
It has performance issues.
This was the one. Yeah, you think so? Look at this. Here's my lightsaber.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So these guys, I mean, look at that. You can't do high fives in 0G.
Yeah.
That right there. Obvious. How can you do a high five in 0G? Your hands won't touch. I mean, this is the kind of arguments you get, things that just don't make sense when you look at them for just 2 minutes. I mean,
Right.
and why? Why would we do this? I mean, okay, I understand the initial, faking of the moon landing because we're in the space race with Russia and we want to psych them out and yada yada and all that stuff. And I get that. I mean, the Soviet Union, not Russia. But
I knew what you meant.
I almost want to say, okay, well, we're kind of back in that situation again, so I can
think we are.
understand.
Except
Yeah.
we're in a race with China.
With China and yeah, exactly.
China.
For the most part. I will say that I thought I had a piece of AI footage. The new, what is it, the F-47 or whatever it is, the new
Yeah.
fighter jet
Yeah.
they're making.
Yep.
Holy Mary, mother of God, I thought that thing was fake. And it's not.
No.
It
it's
is
not.
real. It is one of the most intense pieces of technology. And I'm sorry, just putting out that video footage is just as substantial as faking a moon landing. Okay. This jet is unbelievable what it's able to do. It has an AI co-pilot that is always on and always scanning the sky and able to take over for you, which I think you'd kind of have to, because this thing's ability to pull G's is going to knock anybody out.
Right.
If the AI doesn't stop it, the AI will be able to take over and fly the plane, which, I mean, this just kind of scares me a little bit, because this thing can be a fully autonomous killing machine.
Right. Yep.
It is an HK from Terminator. And it is insane technology. So if we can pull that stuff off, I mean, faking a moonshot is almost superfluous.
Right.
Because who's going to care about a moonshot when you've got, that kind of technology?
Right.
Not to mention the discombobulator, which is everybody's name for whatever the hell they used in Venezuela.
Yeah.
That knocked everything and everybody offline. And when I say offline, they were like heads over, nauseous, throwing up. Suddenly it's like this was ultrasonic, but then they did something that took out all the tech. All of the Russian and all the Chinese tech failed. That's like an EM pulse, only there was no EM pulse. The hell, they're just scrambling every bit of technology.
So that really that goes to show me that I don't understand why the whole big controversy of, well, we never went to the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's so much of this stuff, and it swings both ways. Okay, so much of this stuff about, oh, this can't be true, this couldn't have happened, this can't work this way, is based on an ignorance of how it can actually happen or is actually happening. There's a lot of people who think that, psychic abilities and, all the kind of side effects, those can't be true, that can't be real. Well, do some research, because it is basically at this point beyond demonstrated, it is beyond question that our minds have the ability to push reality all by themselves. One way or another, they're bending the rules. And, you've got to be able to look at it. It's the same thing, when I look at, the Bigfoot stuff, which I'm segueing right now, over to the Bigfoot stuff. And, you will get certain things that are obviously hoaxes. I mean, the introduction of AI has been just one of the worst things, because now
I mean, look
every
at
trail
how fat
cam,
AI made me. I look huge.
yeah,
Goodness gracious.
and it happens every time I do you. I'm sorry.
So weird. I am not that fat.
No, at
And my beard's
all.
longer.
Yeah, well, old pick. The thing is, I knew as soon as I put that pick in there, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to come out 220 pounds. Promise. And John weighs like 150 pounds wringing wet.
Right.
But yeah, so it was, I knew that was going to happen. But no, when I am watching all these trail cam videos and, here's the latest, most convincing video, it's like, I can't believe any of it. Because first of all, your primary source is the internet.
Yeah.
So your provenance is zero. You have nothing to say where that came from. And if it doesn't come from like one of the five of us, I'm including RPG in that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come from one of the five of us, okay, then I'm like, mm-mm. And Mark is usually the one who can look at anything and go, oh no, that's that piece from that date that did that.
Yeah, he knows. He knows that stuff.
Yeah, he's a walking encyclopedia.
They can't be here today. So, but so my brother-in-law, brother-in-law, I guess he might, my brother-in-law. We were talking about the, because we actually got into the Kennedy assassination, the whole 9 yards, and he was like, and this will get me back to the Bigfoot thing. So he's like, well, we saw the shots, because I don't think Kennedy was killed. I think Kennedy's had a body double that was in there, and he was a very good body double. Unfortunately, that guy didn't know he's going to get killed. So, but
I get to ride with Jackie. Ooh.
Yay, right? So, but the thing of it is, he's like, well, we had cameras back, we had great technology, because he actually knew a member of the Kodak family, and so, which took us down a Greenbrier path, which I'm not going to talk about that, but he goes, but we had all this great technology, we had lenses back then that were absolutely great and phenomenal, blah blah blah. And I said, well, see, that's the problem. This goes back to the Patty thing. Everybody wants to say, well, you can't make the suit. We don't, he was using a pro camera, and and so I said, well, the thing of it is even though we had, like, just like the Kennedy thing, even though we had that technology back then, they were using TV cameras. They were not. They were super high-end movie cameras.
Nobody's going to be out there. No, of course not.
So he went.
I mean, you're going to be out there with a freaking brownie,
right?
You know,
right.
that's
and
what
then
you're going to be taking pictures
and
with.
the TV cameras back then, they weighed 200 pounds. You know, they were monstrous.
Yeah, the mobile units were obnoxious.
They were huge.
Okay, they
right?
weren't the studio cameras.
No, they weren't.
They had to be the portable ones.
Yeah.
And think about how big a stupid VHS camera was.
Yeah.
Back when we were first starting out. Remember the big shoulder mounts, yada, yada? That was 15, 20 years after Kennedy.
Right. So
it was 20 years after Kennedy before we had anything even like that. And go watch your old VHS tapes and see how great they look now.
Yeah. And I said
and that
to
was
him,
the best we had.
Could you? I said, I've kind of scoured through as much as I could find, and the only close-up shots of Kennedy ever being shot were they were from cameras that they enhanced it, and then they zoomed in on that footage. Well, the problem is,
which you could do,
but not great.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that super close, because there was nobody out there that day. So back to Patty. So yeah, they had a camera, whole 9 yards. But they didn't shoot it through the technology, and now all of a sudden, oh my God, I don't know if you guys seen all this or not, but I think Michael put something up where now they've had AI do an expanded shot and showed the paths of where Patty could have walked from or to, and I'm sorry that this is gonna piss some people off, but when I don't care how gentle a creature is, when someone's coming up on it with horses and and making noise like that, because horses aren't quiet on rock, they're just not. And so
they're big. Yeah.
And that Bigfoot, that creature's not going to look back and go, "Oh, hey, what's up?" They're going to bolt, and they're going to bolt as fast as they physically can. There was just so with all that being, this whole controversial. I swear to God, I cannot wait to see this thing, and I'm hoping that I don't get completely let down. But I know they're trying to secure rights somewhere else, and
oh yeah.
It's still got they still got the Bigfoot world completely 100% all jacked up. Everybody's
and
pissy.
completely divided.
It
because
is horrible.
Because neither side, is dealing with the actual footage, but honestly, the people who don't have it, there's like 20% at each end. These are like, oh, it's fake. Well, you've never seen it. How do you know it's fake? Oh, it proves PG is fake. You haven't seen it. How do you know it proves it? You don't actually know. Then there's a good 60% in the middle. They're like, okay, just show me the film.
Yeah.
And that's really, how it pretty much works in everything. And that's where we're sitting right now.
That's exactly where we're
sitting. Do I think now the people that are coming out and talking about it, who have seen it, are very pragmatic, and they're saying, yeah, it's pretty damning. But that's a conclusion they have arrived at.
Right.
And that's fine. I can respect their opinion even before I get to see the footage myself.
Right.
But I have to have that layer of skepticism on top of it because I haven't seen it myself. Yeah. I don't know. But it is tearing the world apart because some people are saying, oh, it's proof that, Bigfoot isn't real. Well, that's a non sequitur. Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. It's like, oh, somebody made a gasoline engine that gets 150 miles to the gallon. No, they didn't. It was fake. Oh, you see, gasoline engines aren't real.
Right. Exactly. Well,
no.
What was it? Somebody, and I'm not picking on my Christian brothers, but I'm talking, so the other guy the other day said to me, you really believe in Bigfoot? Something you've never seen? I said, well, do you believe in God? And he goes, yeah, have you ever seen God? Well, no. I said, but yet you believe in him. Yeah. I said, same difference. If you can believe in God, you can believe in Bigfoot. I'm just saying. That's my point of view on that one. But but everybody keeps, everybody wants to throw back. Well, like Munn said that costume can't be made. Well, I had a taxidermist in here, and actually the taxidermist, he's got his daughter's in the hospital with cancer. So we're going to give him a couple of weeks or maybe a month. Or he said, give me a couple of weeks.
Sure, whatever it takes.
But he's a
Yeah.
blue ribbon, which I don't understand, other than all I know that as I looked it up, to be a blue ribbon taxidermist in the state of Georgia is pretty damn good. So he has 2 ribbons. So he is an exceptional. I said, well, let me ask you this: if I had enough money, and I say I give you about a year, could you make me a Bigfoot costume that looked absolutely authentically real? He goes, yeah, that's not a problem. I said, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, you know, half the lions in the Smithsonian and the bears that are all been taxidermied, those are not even the real carcass. That's not even the real skin. Half of it is been, oh, you want a bear? Yeah, I can make you a bear. You want a dog? I can make you a dog. You know, you may use a piece of it. I'm like, you're telling me? He goes, we don't always use the hide. We don't. But if we know, you know, there's a certain look that you have to go for, like a picture of the dog, they can make that hide look that way by dyes and all this kind of stuff. I said, really?
Sure.
I said, so you can make it where I could put it on, walk around in, and actually be a Bigfoot. He goes, all day long. He goes, well, you want more ape or you want more human like? I said, I personally believe they're not part of the ape family. I think they're a forgotten sect of us, like not Neanderthal, but you know, the next one's up that they didn't die out. They just happened to keep going.
They Canopithecus.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but he
Novian.
goes, so I want to do a crowdfunding, and I want to pay this guy. I want to raise enough money to pay this guy to build us an actual Bigfoot.
Okay. I have purchased much of the material.
Yeah.
Okay, but my thing is, I'm being very period specific. I'm finding only materials they had on hand in 1967.
Right.
Okay, that's how I'm searching it out, because it's easy for me to use modern materials.
Right.
But that's just like saying, oh, I know how they built the pyramids. They used a diesel crane. Okay.
No, you build the frame of the suit off of older materials, but the basis of the entire suit is going to be something like a buffalo hide.
Yep.
It's going to be some type of leather, so that you get the stretch, you get the movement, and you know, use that as your main basis with your padding or whatever under it.
Yeah.
That's a neat idea, because that will give you a very different stretch. And that's been one of the things everybody said is, oh, we didn't have that kind of stretch fabric prior to the spandex revolution in the 80s and 90s. And it's like, well, sure, we didn't have it made out of petroleum product before then.
So do you guys ever watch the show Mountain Men?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
So Tom, the older gentleman, he's big in the beaver pelts, right? And he does other cougars, stuff like that. So I watch these guys all the time, and he taught this. He's retired now. He was teaching these other guys how to tan hide, right? And you got to use the brains and piss and all that kind of stuff of the animals, and the more you work that material, the softer and more pliable it becomes. And that's why I think it's the Inuit Indians that in the Northwest up there in Oregon and up in Oregon and in Alaska and that area. Well, they've been wearing hides for centuries.
Well, sure.
Right?
I mean, there's a reason doeskin is so well loved. It's because it's thin, it's flexible, it's stretchy, it does all the things that you need it to do. And then all you have to do is attach your hair to it. And there's 2 different ways to do that. Sure, you could glue it on the outside, or you could do what they actually do when they're making this stuff right, and they're attaching it via like a rug hook.
Yeah.
okay, where they're going one strand at a time and inserting it. And then what you're
Yep.
getting is a completely natural skin.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of how you affix it to the body.
Right.
That's your, and honestly, you can make them zippered and you can hide the zippers and and it's really easy to hide the zippers if you never actually show it from a certain angle or if you're so far back
Bingo.
that you can't see it from that
Right.
angle.
Right.
And I mean, this suit could have had a zipper all the way down the left arm,
That's
all the way
correct.
down the left side.
Yep.
Because we never see Patty's left side at all.
No.
And that's where the zipper could be. Boom, done.
And that's so.
Yep.
I think that's really what this documentary is kind of pushing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's really one of those. Well, this is the reality of what could be,
Sure.
and again, it's just one of those things that I think people just in the mentally cannot handle it. You would think they could.
It's you're running around going, I believe it's true because whatever. And then suddenly it's like, well, okay, so what if you did? Something new has come up. Now you just need to let that go. And go,
Right.
okay, it didn't matter.
Right.
This piece of film did not matter. It is a supporting piece of evidence. It is not a foundational piece of evidence. You can let go of all the supporting you want. If you have one foundational piece, none of the supporting even
Right.
matters.
Exactly.
And there are far too many credible interviews with credible eyewitnesses in law enforcement and the military. And and it's not that somehow they have magic ability to not be, tricked by their senses, but they have a much higher cost to their credibility when they come out and say these things.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Just like Jeff Meldrum coming out saying, okay, I'm a professor out of college and I'm going to say these things. There's a reason that carries clout. And it's not because he's special. This isn't an argument from authority.
Right.
That's another logical fallacy. Okay. This is looking at the cost of making these statements, to someone's reputation, credibility, career, all those things. And that's why those accounts, and these people are also, I mean, think about it. Police are trained, at least some of them. I mean, it's a very broad statement, are trained to be witnesses.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Well,
they are better. Go ahead. Yeah, you can speak to this better than anybody.
when you're on site, you're on scene of a lot of these things that are going on, and your brain actually thinks differently. You can see one small detail that can completely dissolve an entire case or a story. And
Mhm.
we used to do it when I was on scene as a paramedic. You're a firefighter. You go into a potential arson scene, and when you pull up, that first snapshot you take with your brain can lead you in a direction that have people arrested for arson.
Right.
And I've done it.
Yes. Yes.
And so your brain snapshots what you see,
Yep.
and
Immediately
you don't
draw a
really think
conclusion.
about it while you're fixing the problem. But then once the case is over, you can go back and say, okay, when I pulled up, this is what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're good, if you're trained, you learn how to do that in an unbiased fashion. The problem
Mhm.
is a lot of people, okay, your brain will overwrite, which is why, eyewitness accounts can vary so much. All right,
Mhm.
because they will find different details that they fixate on, and then their brain fills in the rest. Because they say we only use 10% of our brain. To a certain extent, and although that's bogus, the fact of the matter is we only process about 2 or 3% of what we actually perceive. If we didn't, we'd be going crazy. Because just if I just ask everybody now to, yes, you're looking at your screens, but now look at everything else around your screen that you were not looking at while you were looking at your screen. Yet it's all still there, and it's still there in the peripheral.
Right.
It may not be quite in focus, okay, but those books and those plants and that shelf and that other television monitor and that thing on the bookends, the wall, it's all there, and your mind is not going to see it. And so the next time, if I showed you a scene similar to this, okay, and I asked you what was behind the screen, you would actually tell me all the things that you were familiar with from somewhere else, where you
Right.
did have time to see them. You did have time to look. God, remember that one where there were the cheerleaders or something up in front of the camera going rah, 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 boom, boom, boom. And it's like, okay, now I want you to go back again. And this time watch for the gorilla in the back of the room. And you're like, what? And there, plain as day, now that you're looking for it, there's a gorilla, a guy in a gorilla suit walking across the back of the thing. But your mind is focused up here, okay, on what's going on in the forescreen. You're not seeing the guy in the gorilla suit walking right there, plain as day. And that is just how the brain
Holy shit.
works.
So let's
Yep.
jump on to it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna, we're still sitting. We're still sitting on this, going. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and
Yep.
waiting and waiting and waiting. So as soon as we see it, but I just wanted to touch on it today because it is
Yeah.
still. I figured it would kind of blow over, kind of, and
I think it's like it's gone
blown
from a
over.
hard boil down to a simmer. No, I think it's gone down to a simmer.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay. It's no longer, the grifters out there yelling and screaming about how it's fake and they're just shysters and they took advantage and they abused. And I mean, if we keep pushing them, then they're going to push back harder. But I think people have already started to look at them and go, dude, you're being an idiot.
Right.
Okay. And that's really where it's at. And some of these grifters, who've been making money off this thing are overreacting. And they are losing more people as people calm down.
Yeah.
They're going, whoa, why are you still doing this? When really we don't know what's in it. And you're coming out definitively stating what's in this video that you've never seen.
Exactly.
How does that work? Okay. Yeah. So, and you're the one asking me to believe you about Patty now. Let me think about that.
Right.
If this is your level of intellectual rigor, maybe I've been making my deposits in the wrong bank.
Right. So let's jump over to the UFO release. Trump has Trump directs all the agencies. Oh, sorry, to release all the UFO UAP records. I kind of watched some of it live. I keep watching over here. I know they have Knapp and let me see, they have Knapp and Spielberg and Borland. Who else do they have up there? Burchett has been the most open about what he's heard. And he says,
as far as he can, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and he even says that, if you guys really, really knew what we actually have been told behind closed doors, you wouldn't sleep at night.
You wouldn't sleep at night.
You'd lose your crap.
Yeah. And again, I think that's why they keep not wanting to tell us stuff.
I mean, knowledge is power, and once you let that cat out of the bag, okay, we're going to have a problem. And I think one of the problems is these things, whatever they are, let's just pretend for a minute that they're real, okay? That means they've been coming and going at will for who knows how long.
Oh, right.
Okay, what, 1603? We've got some great records, okay, from 1603 that look pretty convincing. But you then have to look beyond that and go, so if these people can all do this, or these beings, whatever they are, have this kind of ability, they have this kind of power, they have this kind of, that everything we have basically doesn't matter.
Right.
Then we're in a case where I think people would lose their crap. Okay, as Mike said.
Well, look at
we would end up with
this room is loaded with everybody who's who in that whole UFO world. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they had the big boys there, and even the people sitting. I don't know if anybody I don't know if you recognize people in the gallery behind them, but even those people are some pretty big names that are in the UFO world, ancient alien, whatever you want to call it, Skinwalker Ranch, world.
Yeah, I don't see, what is it, Brandon from Skinwalker? I don't see him there.
No, he's not.
Brandon Truggle.
Yeah, and Nick Pope had already passed away by the time this was happening. I'm pretty sure he'd be sitting right there at forefront.
Or he was too sick to go because this was just Nick Pope just died 2 days ago.
Yeah, this was a day ago.
Yeah.
This right here was a day ago. So.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yep. This
Yeah.
was 13,
Wow.
This one was streamed 13 hours ago. So
Okay.
that just shows me that, I think everybody pushes and pushes and pushes for, I want to see this and I want to see that and I want to see this, and then when you get what you've asked for, you're like, oh, maybe I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, nobody wants to see how the sausage is made.
No, they do not.
And and
whatever.
Well,
Getz coming out on Newsmax and stating that he had someone approach him from the military about an actual breeding program.
A breeding program.
Yes, where they're mixing human and alien. It's actually a breeding program. They're using these things, what they're saying, for special operations and things.
Well, didn't the Anunnaki do that already?
Well, yeah, and look how that turned out.
That's why we have
Bigfoot. Yeah. And there we have it.
And
Thank you. You can all go home now.
Yeah, we all go home now. It's all been we fixed it.
Yeah, it's like, are we really on the island of Dr. Moreau? That's what the planet of Dr. Moreau. Now, I think, I could see where somebody was punking Matt Gaetz and going, Jesus, will this guy believe this if I tell him just because I'm in uniform? And Matt kind of ran with it. But then when you get Congressman Burchett saying, instead of just going, no, that's crazy. No, I really can't. He's like, I'm not allowed to comment on that. Wrong answer. Okay.
Well, he then also went on to say, if y'all knew exactly what was going on, it would set the world on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
And so, when we look at all these things, they're going to shake the foundation. But what we really have to do is, like we're doing with the Bigfoot video, and that is, we're ready for it to be whatever it is.
Right.
And honestly, if they have already been coming here for 500 years, okay, and they haven't wiped us out yet, why would they wait until we get things like the F-47 or whatever the hell it is, okay? And we get all this, new technology, and we get the discombobulators, and we get the, the EM pulses that'll knock drones out of the sky, and, the laser anti-missile devices and all that stuff. Why would they wait until now to take us down? Okay, it just doesn't even wait. Well, let's wait until they get an atomic bomb. Okay, and then we'll wait another 50, 60 years after that. Yeah,
right.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, we aren't at risk. This is not about risk.
I don't think we pose any threat to them at all. They got here. No. We can't even get there. We can't even get out of our lower orbit.
I think the only thing that we have that poses a threat to them is the EMP blast off of atomic weapons. And I think that's why when we were dead set in the atomic age and we're testing these things, we were getting crashes.
Oh.
I think it affects their
That's
craft.
an interesting theory. Yeah.
Well, it'll affect anything, okay, as long as it's in this space-time continuum. I think if they happen to not be in their warp bubble at the time, okay, then yes, it will impact them. And that's annoying. And they've got to watch out for it and go around it. But again, if that was the issue, why have they waited 60 years to do anything about it? 70 years.
Right.
80 years to do anything. It's been 80 years now, for God's sake. Okay, and yet they haven't done anything about it. They haven't stopped anybody from testing anything in any way, shape, or form, or using it, or putting it up into space, and whatever it is. So, this idea that, yeah, now, on the other hand, Mike, I don't know if you saw the footage. I know I gave it to John because we're going to use it for a different show, but they have an EM pulse uh, uh, transmitter that sits on the back of a big old military truck, and it can knock drones out of the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it looks like a
it's just
missile
like
launcher, but it's
it,
not.
except the missiles. It's the pad that would normally be the back of the missile launcher.
Yeah.
Okay, the pad is actually the transmitter. And so what it does is it just aims up at the field of drones, and you can see them. They flew like 50 drones up, and they're up there flying around and everything. And then this thing goes, beep, and they go, honk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom, just like that. It completely turns them off. So if EM pulses work that way, then this would also work that way. And if this was the big threat, why haven't they neutralized it? If they have this power, they are this incredible, that, why do we have it? Okay, we wouldn't have it. They would have stopped us years ago. So my point is, we don't really have anything to be afraid of. We may lose our sense of identity for a little bit, but that's just an
most
adjustment
of the country's
period.
already lost that anyway.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Right.
Yeah. So that's about it.
But
that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, I just think that we all get. I mean, I have seen UFOs and paranormal more than I have the cryptid world.
Yep.
I mean, I had an experience when I was 10 in Missouri where we thought bears tore apart our cabin down on Black River. And my uncle, swear to God, up and down, it was never bears. It wasn't bears. So I don't know. And I mean, when I tell you so we had a camping site on Black River down near Annapolis, Missouri. And we always, for a month, we would all kind of congregate. And then throughout the weeks of there, everybody would just come through and do their, camp. And it's a big family thing. And those cabins got destroyed. It was just shanty cabin, for the kids, the young kids. And so, yeah, if it wasn't bears, what was it?
Kangaroos.
Well, I was hoping for kangaroos because I like kangaroos.
Yeah, Missouri kangaroos are just the worst.
They're horrible. But they're cool. They're cool. But
laughing high in a footstool.
Right. But then but being in that part of Missouri, which is right next to Piedmont, Missouri, which is where my uncles, I had uncles and cousins that lived. You could sit outside my back aunt's or my aunt's back her yard, and I mean it was like acreage, and we just sit out there and look up, and you would see stuff happen all the time, and she'd always say, "Not an airplane." So
yeah,
and Piedmont is like one of the the United States top 5 for UFO. Matter of fact, this town literally embraces the fact it's UFO because they've got UFO Park. They've got all this. I mean, it's all over the place. It's, so.
And the thing is, there are hotspots, okay, and they're not around our population centers. They're in other, remote or weird or whatever. It's like, what is the common denominator between these hotspots? Is there some kind of mineral deposits? Is there some sort of, what is it that drives them back to these particular places over and over again? Or is it because they are a hotspot that people imagine seeing them more there because they're expecting them? They're primed, okay, to see these things. And then when an airplane does go over, they're suddenly seeing a UFO in the trees. And it's like, if you were in New Jersey, you'd think that was an airplane.
Right.
But because you're in Piedmont, you're like, no, it's an orb.
Yeah. Well, no, not orbs.
I know, but I'm
But
just.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you see something that flies and then drops down and then goes the other way,
Yeah.
it's not an airplane.
No, not
So
usually.
I
It's
have
a
no
hell of
I
a rough ride.
and I couldn't even tell you why. I mean, the only thing around there, I mean, they have this big reservoir, but through there was a ton of iron ore, and there was my grandfather was an iron ore miner.
Yeah.
So so there was a lot of coal there, a lot of iron there. So I have no idea.
So I
Mark
mean,
would
just
know.
to wrap this up, to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay, I think what it means is their ships run on clean coal, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're down there mining the coal.
for their
No, this was a
nuclear.
great show. Good stuff, everybody.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Hopefully we can get the whole crew back on here. But
Oh, wouldn't that be weird?
Mr. Hollywood's
I don't
going
even
out to
remember what the
Hollywood.
other two guys look like.
I know, right? Mark,
Yeah, the big
poor
guns.
Mark's going through health stuff. So
Yeah.
but that being said, hey, we'll be back next week, and I'm John.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Michael.
And we'll see you next week on ParaGeeks. Bye.